I just came back from a Mexico trip with an all-inclusive resort. And not only that I did not gain weight, but I ended up losing weight. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I did and what I did not do to make this happen. Let's get started. I'm going to start with the first most important thing that I've done differently this round versus all the other trips. And this has been the third major trip for me, very unique this year. And usually, I mentioned this before, I save Starbucks drinks for trips for travel time because it is sort of like a luxury for me. It's an indulgence, super expensive right now. And it just so happened that I could not have Starbucks there. There were just, maybe there was one on site, I wasn't aware of that. So we were isolated to this resort and the coffee was really good. And it didn't even cross my mind to not have, the coffee. So I had regular coffee, I had some soy milk in it, and I still had my honey. But that's it. This one major change, I think, is the reason why I did not gain weight. And let me tell you why. It did not hit me until I was at the airport on the way back to the US when I was in line at Starbucks to get my coffee. And then I saw the amount of calories in it. So the white chocolate mocha, the one that I have, is I think over 400 calories, even the small one. That is a significant amount. And I just didn't have it for the entire duration of the week. And it was such a big change that I think it's really worth noting. So for you, pay attention to what you drink because that one drink could change the outcome of your entire progress for the duration of a trip. If you want to learn more about my fit lifestyle, I have an entire workshop built for you. Go to womenofhighvalue.com/IF workshop, where I walk you through in less than 1 hour, step by step, what are the main categories that I look for to make sure that I have a balanced fit lifestyle when it comes to diet and all the activities around in my schedule. It is free to download. I'm going to link it down below for you as well. The second thing that I did was related to the morning drink. Not only that I didn't have the sugary drink that I normally even have at home or the Starbucks, but I had a very light version of it. So it was literally just coffee with a little bit of milk and 1 or 2 teaspoons of honey. So overall, I think it was very low in calories. In addition to that, my morning drink was also a green juice. This is a natural fruit-based and vegetable-based juice that they offered at the resort. It was not sweet, maybe a hint of sweetness to it. I definitely felt the cucumbers and the celery in it. I just love these drinks. I don't normally have them, but I started my day with it, with my breakfast with it, and I felt like it made such a big difference. It was delicious. It felt very cleansing. In some mornings, I even had a little grass shot of whatever they, compress all the fruits and veggies. I think maybe it was just veggies because it was a pure green shot of goodness. And, I talk about this throughout my program that you want to start with veggies. You want to start with fiber because that is going to keep your glucose level low. Super helpful. And I think that was another detail that really helped me maintain my weight. Now let's talk about breakfast. Breakfast is really a big deal for me, and I think it should be for a lot of people, not necessarily because it is so important. I know that's debatable. It's basically because I feel like I have a lot of control over it. I do have a sweet tooth, but that doesn't really kick in for me till about lunchtime or dinner time. And so I'm very mindful of that to at least get a good, savory, clean breakfast in. In addition to that, I also had exposure to a lot of different pastries, which were amazing and delicious. But I save those for last. So imagine eating until you're about 80% full And then for the 20%, you just sample. So having this mindset of continuously just focus on protein. So here I had different variations. I had my go-to eggs, different variations of eggs. I had no bacon because I feel like that's really fat and high in calories, but I did have some ham, different variations of ham they had. I did have salmon, smoked salmon. For fiber, I had some veggies and then plenty of fruit. So that was really the highlight of my breakfast, a lot of new fruits and just sort of like a rainbow of colors. So I definitely indulged in the fruit. It's one of my favorites. If I could eat fruit all day long, I would. So I did leave room though for the pastries. So for pastries, imagine 1 to 2 bites in the beginning because I was curious. It was mainly because my kids just had it at all times. That's basically what their diet was while we were there for breakfast. I sampled it, but then by day 2 or 3, you already know the taste. So maybe you try something new or just skip it altogether. Let's move on to lunch. For lunch and dinner, I focused again on protein. I don't know why. I sort of feel like I shifted towards a lot of protein. It is not my go-to. So I just want to highlight this, that I am not a meat person. But I could feel that my body needs it. I'm not sure why. I'm going to talk about the activities I've done as well. But for lunch, I was gravitating towards steak. I even had burgers. For burgers, because all of it was sort of like a buffet, you could choose and pick what you wanted. And so I had a piece of steak. I did have the burger meat and half of bun. Not at the same time. And then I tried to do salads and more fiber. Again, not too many options. And then we had the dessert, which is again, very little bit of sampling. If not, I skipped altogether because dinner was coming up, so I'll tell you all about it. Speaking of veggies, guacamole was present and avocado was present at every single meal. And that was just extraordinary because as you and I know, you have to have the right ripeness of avocado to have it available. We buy it once a week. It takes like 5 days to ripen to the level that we want to. So we definitely don't have that on a daily basis. Although I have been lately investing in the Costco little sample size mashed avocados, which are really handy and snack size, and you can just have it every single day. But the fact that we had it for every single meal, even just like a spoonful of avocado, was super helpful, healthy, delicious, also helped with the digestion of all the extra food that we've been eating, all the type of food we've been eating that perhaps was heavier. And so I think that helped me a lot. And I'm saying this because 2 weeks prior to this, I was in Paris with a lot of carbs and not as much veggies, definitely no avocados on a daily basis. And I felt so different. So in Mexico, I feel like because I had all this extra fiber, I did not feel heavy at all. I did talk about the fruits, and I really enjoyed the diversity. I ate every new kind of fruit. I didn't, at some point, I think I ate some fruits that I did not even know what they were. It does not even matter to me. I just tried all of them. I think a quarter to half of my plate was full of fruits at all times, and it tasted really, really good and fresh. So you could tell that it was local and it was ripe, and it feels so good when you're eating it with flavor. So fruit was a huge part of my diet while in Mexico. For dinner, you're not going to believe me, but I did have dinner every single night. And it was past 6 and 7 o'clock, which, as you know, it is way past my normal dinner time. And I ate shamelessly more steak and veggies. I think there were times where I ate steak twice a day. I was that into it and enjoying it that much. So for here, we had the steak and the steamed veggies. Again, delicious. We did try more samples of just decadent desserts because you have to, especially when you go to like these 4 or 5 star resorts and restaurants. And yes, again, very heavy for me. But the key here is that I did not eat any carbs. So I would say that according to my definition of carbs, pasta, rice, bread, I did not have any of those as even a side portion. At most, I had sample for breakfast, a couple of bites. I wouldn't even count that as a portion. And then I did not have it for lunch, and I did not have it for dinner. Again, dessert was full of sugar, which does have, dessert has carbs as well, slower, but it was in sample quantity as well. The bulk of my meals was consisting of beef and vegetables. We have to talk about dessert because Mexico is known for, well, it seems that everything is covered in sugar. I mean, imagine a full stand of just pastries, even more so than I've seen in France. Sort of something that stood out to me was that everything was covered in sugar. Even croissants, even bread was covered in sugar. I have not seen this before. I know that the American version of the baguette, for example, or the bread has sugar in it. The European version does not. But here in Mexico, it was even more so. And it was a little bit off-putting. I do want to mention that one of the things that I noticed in this option of what we were served were that a lot of the dessert options were very, very sugary. Again, churros, for example, is straight up bread and sugar. There was a lot of pudding offered and cookies that you can dip in pudding. Sounds delicious. I stayed away from that as well. And so maybe the dessert section just wasn't up to my taste. And maybe that helped as well with my overall diet. One of the great benefits of going to an all-inclusive resort is that you get to try a lot of things. You're basically prepaying for the whole thing. And I frankly don't think it's worth it for me and my family, just because I don't eat a lot. I really, really don't. And I think the way they calculate it per person is just like an astronomical amount. Maybe for my husband, it's worth it. Maybe for my oldest daughter, it's worth it because she eats like an adult now, basically. But for me and my two younger ones, it is definitely not worth it. And however, it did give me the opportunity to try on different foods that we wouldn't normally try or that we did not know what they were. So imagine some of the restaurants had about 3 items on the appetizer list, 3 items for the entree, and then 3 items for dessert. Between the 5 of us, I ordered almost the whole menu. And this is quite common, I heard right after. And so, yes, we ordered 3 appetizers, but we all shared it among us. This happened quite frequently where I would get a couple of appetizers, a couple of full-size entrees, and then we would just share. And this allowed us to not only try different foods, but also not be wasteful. I'm very mindful of food being wasted. And I can tell already when we travel, we have these expectations, and especially with the kids, they think they know what they're ordering, and then turns out they don't. And they might not even like it. So I was mindful to have sort of a mix between new, what I don't know, and also something that they are familiar with. So that was our backup in case they don't like the first 2. And then overall, I really, really like this approach because we are exposed to so many things. I do this same thing with dessert sampling. I would just go get one big plate and then put a bunch of little cakes and cookies on my plate or whatever I wanted to try, and then I would just bring it at the table, and then we each have a bite of everything. And then based on that, they can form an opinion and go get seconds. So that way you're not wasting the whole thing. So overall, I think that was a big win for us, for our diets, caloric intake, and also not to waste a lot of food. And we have to talk about activities. Activities that we did were mainly swimming around the compound. We had this lazy river, we had caves, we went through a different theme park every day, which was super intense. Our appetites were really, really big. Then we also came back and spent time at the pool at the resort. I did not feel like I worked out. I wouldn't say that I swam 30, 40 minutes a day, which I normally do. However, there were times where we had to swim for like an hour and a half. Turtle speed, but that was pretty intense. One time we had to also swim for almost like 2 hours, I think, not continuously, but like floating / swimming and, carrying gear and walking a lot through theme parks. It adds up. And I didn't have my Fitbit tracker because I was wet for 4 days. But overall, I would say the combination of what I just shared, of do's, not to do, and my activity level overall added up to me actually coming back weighing less than when I left. Against my normal routine, here are the things I did not do. First is I did not drink alcohol. I don't usually drink alcohol, and I just don't do it because I don't like the taste. Also, extra benefits for that is around the kids, of course, I wouldn't do that. And it has so many calories. Again, that is not the reason why I don't drink it, but it's definitely a benefit that I'm enjoying. I did not fast. I ate so late. I did not fast, not even for one day, like a full 12 plus hours. And so ate maybe at 8, 9 o'clock even. Again, very, very late for me. It's about 5 hours past my normal dinner time. And then in the morning, we would eat sometimes even before 8 o'clock because we had to go to a theme park. We had to stick to a schedule. So there was no fasting involved for me in this trip. Additionally, in some days, I had 3 to 4 meals. So compared to when I'm home, when I have 2 to 3 meals a day, over there at the resort, we had 3 to 4 meals in some days. But again, I focused on when I had that fourth meal, and that actually was the third meal in between lunch and a late dinner. I was very mindful to make sure that there are no carbs involved. It was just protein and veggies and maybe a couple of bites of dessert. And lastly, as I mentioned, there was no Starbucks with super high calorie drink. And I think overall that made such a big difference for me. So tell me all about what you do when you travel. I would love to hear it. Do you go to any of these all-inclusive resorts? It was my first time, and I definitely liked it. I think the kids enjoyed it very much, and I really liked the diversity. We had between 8 to 10 different restaurants available for us at all times. It felt really nice to be able to do activities during the day and just go back to the room, change, take a break, and then just have everything within reach, I felt, without having to drive anywhere. So we really enjoyed it. I think this was so much better for us than a super populated cruise, which we've done before as well. So I want to hear from you. What are some of the tips that you have, that you follow when you travel? Do you do anything differently to your diet, or do you not even care and you just indulge and live your life? So comment below and share. I look forward to reading those as well. Coming up next, if you haven't seen my video on how my diet looked like and my lifestyle looked like in Paris to maintain my weight, it's coming up next. I'll see you there.